My anxiety is horrible, but I've had probably 3 instances where I've actually ended up in the hospital or in the back of an EMT. When I get anxiety, I feel a pressure in my chest that feels like a heart attack. And it literally leaves pressure and pains in this chest muscle for days. That's how bad my anxiety attacks are. I've had to be told that it's not a heart attack or a stroke, that it is anxiety. But anxiety is crippling for me. And since my dementia has progressed, my anxiety has progressed.
Mine has started several months ago with all sorts of strange medical problems and reactions to meds, and doctor after doctor, not even with agreeing diagnoses and that sort of thing, started causing heart palpitations, higher blood pressure, um, just tense and nervous.
The triggers are numerous. When I go to the doctor, I get all stressed out before I go. I get sweaty.
The impetus is that if I'm in a situation that in particular maybe surrounded by people that know me, and yet somebody's expecting something of me that I know I'm not capable, and that they should know that too. Sometimes if the anxiety's significant enough, I can do one of two things. I can get mad, and or very emotional and just start crying.
My anxiety is mostly around two things. So the first is, for some reason, when I forget something, my brain sends a shock to the system. It's like, oh my God, how could this have possibly happened? And then my whole fight or flight response is going. This wakes me up in the middle of the night when I'm sleeping. It happens all day long, and it was just insanely uncomfortable, and very difficult to think clearly when your brain is going and thinking it needs to attack something. How are you supposed to use the cognition that you actually have? And the other time I get it is when I'm thinking about doing things that normally make the cognitive situation worse for me. So if I were to go to the grocery store, it is the most overstimulating place for me, and it just sort of drains my resources, and I get very tired and I get very confused, and I feel like I could very easily be taken advantage of. And then I talk myself into thinking that going to the grocery store is like this mountain of a thing, and then it kind of reinforces that anxiety pathway.
It starts to occur from frustration, doing something that either A, not doing it the right way, or if I'm making a recipe and gets there where I'm like, okay, did I do it right? Did I put the right things in there? Did I, going back, taking things out, putting it back in? So it's areas where you recognize where there is deficiency. Large crowds at times, because you have so many different voices. And that can sometimes it trigger that, and just sometimes bright lights or loud noises.
I think about anxiety as sort of your fight or flight response is acting as if there is a bear about to attack you, but there isn't really a bear there. And so it's kind of the overactivation of your fight or flight response that makes your blood pressure go up, your chest pound, your breathing change. If you think about what is actually reality versus what is your expectation of reality, when that discrepancy between the two things is very large, that's when you're more likely to experience anxiety or a heightened fight or flight response, because you think that the thing is a bear when it really is not.
It can be a feeling of you want to crawl out of your skin. And it's that I need to either, number one, maybe get away from something if that's the issue. Or number two is that I just go take a walk with the dog or go do some laps in the basement, whatever, but to do something physical.
The journey is figuring out what triggers these anxiety attacks and keeping the stressors at bay. I pretty much try to lead a peaceful life. I keep my faith in the forefront, which gives me peace. And I try to keep good spirits, good people in my life that are lifting me up and creating positive atmospheres for me.
I did, some research on it on how to do mindfulness breathing and relaxing and taking my mind off of it and onto others. And I even started keeping a little log of how that was going. Now that I've been actually focusing on the anxiety, I've been able to sleep better and I've had fewer of the heart palpitations. And my doctor actually put me on an anti-anxiety medicine to help. So it's less often and less intense, and I at least know how to sense it being there, and to not give into it, but to get my mind off of it and do things I enjoy doing, hobbies and things, and focusing on the positives, not the unknowns and the fears.
I try to just take deep breaths, very deep. I close my eyes, just try to take deep breaths. Another thing I do is I close my eyes and picture myself in my happy place, which is the beach, watching the waves and people watching. And then the third thing I do that always works is I get the dog and we run around the house because it's too cold to be outside. He's a goofy dog, so it just makes me laugh, like he'll run into the couch and it's just hilarious.
The two things that I've actually found to be the most helpful are square breathing. So you inhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, and just repeat that. And that does something to the vagus nerve, which then helps to calm the fight or flight response. But the second thing is that medication has been a game changer. It's brought down the level of the fight or flight response to a point where I can actually think about my breathing and my breath and think about the fact that it isn't as terrible of a thing as I think it is. And I do not want you all to think I've conquered anxiety. I absolutely have not. It is a huge part of my life that I wish was not. But I do think the square breathing is like the one trick that has been the most helpful for me besides medication.
I have an escape room, my tranquility room, my own room. And that helps me because I can go back there with all my favorite things in it, decorated the way I want to. And I also, there's music, if you have hobbies like coloring or painting or anything like that to get your mind off, to help something that you enjoy. Breathing, definitely. Lavender is a very calming essential oil. And I think that helps. If you're next to a wall or something you can lean on, physically lean on it. It helps provide you with stability and that pressure on your body. That physical feel of pressures can sometimes help to ease that somewhat. And then I have a scalp massager that I use. And then massages are great to help relax you, or to help at least to cope. So those are some of my coping mechanisms.